It makes absolutely zero sense. This is pure calculated malice. They can't keep getting away with it. Do you take us for fools? Ladies and gentlemen, hi. It is my great privilege to be able to share the story that I have for you today. One most have no clue about, yet may have entirely changed the course of your life already without you even realizing it. Pray tell, what are you going on about? Let me explain how traditional finance steals from everyone every single day, how they get away with it, how this led to the inevitable creation of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but how through a beautiful twist of irony, their actions will guarantee the continued success of crypto in the future. Oh, I'm listening. Here's what I absolutely cannot believe still occurs. According to global central bankers, Bitcoin could collapse and, quote, isn't a good safeguard of value. Obviously, on the face of it, this seems like a misinformed opinion that is quite easy to refute. Summed up why very eloquently by Isaiah Jackson on Fox News recently.
In the words of Satoshi, if you don't get it at this point, I can't help you. We went from an obscure protocol that was called rat poison, that was called, collectibles, that was called a Ponzi scheme. It's for criminals, it's for shadowy coders, all the way to a nation state using it as a currency. Never in the history of your life or your parents' or your grandparents' life have they seen a new legal tender be created from scratch. So if you're still leery at this point, just stay out. Don't even buy it. Stay out and just watch us create an entire new money market without you. And then you'll have to explain to your kids why you let the biggest transfer in financial history happen and you did nothing.
Well said, if a little harsh, but I can understand the viewpoint. By the end of this video, I aim to make you stand in awe of the sheer audacity of bankers to issue statements like these. How they are not misinformed at all, but actually get it. How about another one?
Another one.
According to billionaire investor Lee Cooperman, Bitcoin doesn't make a great deal of sense to me, and if you're nervous about the world, gold, to me, would be a better place to store value.
Spot on.
That sounds like a great idea. This isn't ignorance. This is pure, calculated malice with an intent to harm, in my opinion. You don't get to be a hedge fund manager managing over $3 billion by being stupid. You more often than not get there by taking advantage of other people and their ignorance. Keep that last part in mind while I discuss how they do that to everyone currently using just one example, the world's premier store of value, gold. So in order to give this story the gravitas it deserves, we need to actually talk positively about gold. Might not have ever thought I'd do that, but it deserves it. Gold for thousands of years has symbolized value for humanity. Nothing else has a history quite like it, but at the end of the day, we can all agree it's only a social construct. Gold is only valuable because we all agree that it has been and will continue to be in the future. The relative scarcity, difficulty of extraction, application in technology and jewelry add to that construct. But that's just not good enough anymore.
I'm never going to be good enough for you, am I?
Not because the social construct that gold is a necessary store of value isn't as needed as it's ever been before, but that very belief is being taken advantage of by designing men and women. And all of us are paying for it to a degree, except crypto holders, of course, who are intentionally or not rebelling against the system. I am referring to straight-up investment banker fraud. Hopefully the concept of banking systems committing fraud is not a shocking revelation to you. There are some pretty major examples I could bring up. The LIBOR scandal, in which the largest banks colluded together to lie about the interest rate to regulators so they could profit the difference, or the inflation of the subprime mortgage market in 2007 and 8, which got so big it led to a global recession, both of which could have made billions in profits per day for these industry insiders, all at the expense of their investors and taxpayers, meaning people like you and me. And currently, still ongoing, is their manipulation of the gold markets. In a single day, more gold is traded on the futures market than is mined in a year. 90 times more, actually. In fact, the amount of gold traded per year is well in excess of that which even exists above ground. The reason this is possible is because these financial institutions have created paper slips, or IOUs essentially, in place of the real thing. And it's gotten so bad, it's estimated that for every ounce of gold traded, there are potentially hundreds of different owners who all believe that it is theirs and theirs alone. Much in the same way banks don't actually keep the money that you give them, we have to just hope not all of us tries to withdraw at once, because it's just not there. The impact that this insane artificial inflation of gold on its price is extremely clear to see. I made a joke tweet about this recently, but if you had invested in gold 10 years ago today, completely dodging the insane 12-year bull run essentially in the S&P 500, the multiple wars that have taken place, a global pandemic, the current situation in Afghanistan, the historic amount of new money being created all over the world, there is no way in hell a gold investor back then would believe you if you told them their investment would be down 5% today, silver down 50% or so. It makes absolutely no sense. Unless you understand digital gold, of course, which is exactly what people like Peter Schiff understand. And it is exactly why a new digital gold on the block is so extremely scary for the people that can benefit from the current system. They know exactly the value proposition Bitcoin represents, and I can prove it. Let's take someone like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Is it a coincidence this man was openly hostile about Bitcoin? The company that has been described by prosecutors as a criminal enterprise in the precious metal market. The same company that agreed to pay $920 million in connection with schemes to defraud precious metals and US Treasury markets.
It had been spoofing the market for the better part of 8 years, and silver, gold, platinum, palladium, I mean, all of the precious metals. This is a pretty big deal. I mean, there's always talk, and listen, I've been covering gold for almost 8 years now, and there's always talk of people saying, oh, there's some sort of manipulation going on in the market. You probably hear that in every market. But now that this actually comes up, it really kind of makes you think twice, like, wow, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, they're claiming racketeering charges. These are high claims.
Yeah.
This type of manipulation that could make them billions in a single day. A $920 million fine is, well, it's basically not even a slap on the wrist. And that's the main reason they keep getting away with it. The requisite punishments are almost never jail time or breaking up of their business or anything of real consequence, but fines that usually represent fractions compared to the actual amount of money that they steal. For the LIBOR scandal, of which Deutsche Bank got the harshest penalty out of 12 major banks, they only had to pay $2.5 billion in restitution, potentially a single day, maybe a week, let's say, profits, in a scam that went on for multiple years. As a funny aside, I actually got that number from an article that was written in 2018 about the 5 biggest scandals Deutsche Bank has been involved in, and which now, no doubt, needs updating. Can't they just do the same with Bitcoin? They can, and in fact have done to a degree. However, there are some pretty major downsides for them regarding crypto as versus gold. For one, central banks and other government agencies do not currently own most of the supply. Physical delivery is as simple as a few clicks, but perhaps most importantly, fraudulent behavior is far more easily observed as Bitcoin is an open ledger we can all check, unlike the current opaque system of gold. And for the scope of this video, I am just picking on gold, but abuse of their positions of powers by traditional finance industry of various kinds is being committed across all markets, all over, every single day.
From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
So do people like Lee Cooperman expect us to believe that he has no idea that this is happening? That he has the audacity to prefer and even to recommend an asset that is down 5% in a decade as versus one that's up 333,000% in the same space of time? Because, quote, it doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. Do you take us for fools? These types of people knew the value of a digital gold long before I did, and even you who are watching this video. And this is what makes me sick. They still have the audacity to appear publicly and straight up lie to people. If not intentionally wanting them to lose money, then to at very least ensure that for every cent you make, they make $1 off you first. Is it any bit of wonder now that these people talk negatively about Bitcoin and positively about gold?
I love gold!
The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.
So how did the banks create Bitcoin? Ironically, they were among the first to create a digital gold, but used it for the express purposes of enriching themselves and harming investors, as they have a long track record of doing with other investment vehicles they control. Inevitably, I want to use the word tyranny. It sounds a bit hyperbolic, but it's not. It fueled a resistance. Satoshi was inspired to create Bitcoin, seeing the current problems with the traditional finance industry. For the Genesis block of Bitcoin, the first coin to ever be mined, Satoshi could sign it and announce anything he wanted to the world as a message embedded within that historic transaction. What he chose to say gives us insight into his intentions with Bitcoin. It was simply the headline for a UK newspaper that read, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." A situation where they have stolen so much from us, too much, and they need a government handout when it all runs out. Or two in this case, which we also pay for. What a great system. So how do they continue to support Bitcoin? Well, if it isn't obvious by now, the world badly needs a store of value. Very simply put, now more than ever. Wars, global pandemics, rampant inflation, these are all insanely good reasons for us to require a store of value that isn't under the complete control of banks. If anyone likes gold, they should love Bitcoin. If they're not an investment banker benefiting from the current system, of course. But Bitcoin is not yet ready to beat all that just yet. Bitcoin is a hedge against market volatility in the same way that an ice cream glove is a good idea for a business, which is to say, not really.
My idea is to come out with just like these ice cream gloves that make the ice cream not go on your hands and make it all well sticky. And also keep your hands warm when you is eating the ice cream.
Okay.
Is you win or is you win?
Okay, well, it sounds like a good idea, and I hope you make a lot of money. Good luck, folks. It's been nice seeing you. You take care of yourself, okay?
Well, is you going to be in on that?
But while that's the situation now, it won't be forever. And as much as investment bankers will continue to try and dissuade us, unless they make a fairer and more transparent system, which they won't, crypto's success is inevitable. And perhaps the craziest thing of all, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will not have an artificial cap on it like the metal markets currently do. There's no limit to how big crypto can grow. In summation, I think Morpheus actually explained it best.
But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
Someone.
Where they have failed, you will succeed.
Why?
Their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.